If destiny is already written, why do so many people feel like they are falling behind in life? Modern culture equates movement with meaning. We measure our worth by milestones: graduation at a certain age, marriage by a certain time, financial stability by a fixed decade. The moment we fall out of sync with that social rhythm, we feel late, misplaced, or even abandoned. But Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani offered an entirely different logic. You are never late. You are being prepared. In his philosophical framework, time is not a linear track you run along, but a spiritual curriculum designed to refine your capacity. Every stage of delay, frustration, or uncertainty is a chapter in that refinement process. From this perspective, delay is not inefficiency. It is intelligent calibration. This lecture explores Jilani's rational philosophy of divine timing and readiness and how it aligns with modern insights from psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral science. Together, they reveal a consistent principle. What seems delayed is often development in disguise. Our age is defined by acceleration. Productivity apps, social media timelines, and performance metrics constantly remind us that we could be doing more, and doing it faster. The human nervous system, however, was never built to sustain this pace. Psychologists describe this condition through several frameworks. Temporal comparison theory explains that we evaluate our progress by comparing it to others on the same timeline. Social media amplifies this distortion, creating the illusion that everyone else is advancing more quickly. Present bias pushes us to prefer immediate rewards over long-term development, even when the latter would bring greater fulfillment. The result is an epidemic of perceived delay. We no longer experience waiting as a neutral condition, but as an existential threat. The anxiety of delay becomes self-fulfilling. Impatience triggers stress responses that impair decision-making, increase cortisol, and reinforce feelings of inadequacy. Consider a young professional who sees peers achieving visible success earlier in life. Instead of perceiving time as an ally, they interpret delay as personal failure. Their self-worth becomes time-bound, and this internalized impatience leads to burnout and disconnection. In psychological terms, our collective misinterpretation of time seeing divine preparation as personal inefficiency creates chronic emotional dissonance. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani was not only a saint, but also a scholar deeply engaged in reconciling divine order with human experience. His teachings bridge metaphysical theology and practical psychology. He taught that what is destined for you will reach you, but only when you are capable of carrying it without breaking. Readiness, not request, determines reception. Divine timing is not arbitrary. It follows the law of proportion between capacity and responsibility. Jilani distinguished between chronological waiting, a passive endurance of time, and ontological preparation, an active maturation of the self's structure to receive what it seeks. Modern psychology parallels this logic. Developmental theorists like Jean Piaget and Robert Kegan describe growth as a stage-based process of cognitive and emotional complexity. Each level of development must be stabilized before the next can appear. When humans attempt to skip stages, they fragment under pressure. Jilani's insight is both spiritual and scientifically coherent. Growth cannot be accelerated without distortion. Everything real unfolds through degrees. Divine mercy, Jilani says, is not expressed in acceleration but in pacing. The fruit that ripens too early is bitter. In nature, no organism bypasses maturation. A seed becomes a root before it becomes a leaf. Growth through sequence ensures structural stability. Likewise, the human soul matures through cycles of challenge, reflection, and correction. Neuroscience mirrors this wisdom. The brain's neuroplasticity, its ability to form new neural connections, repetition, and rest. Without periods of consolidation, learning decays. Delayed gratification studies by Walter Mischel showed that those who can tolerate postponement of reward exhibit greater emotional regulation and life satisfaction. The frontal lobe, responsible for foresight and impulse control, develops last in the human brain. Premature exposure to reward, stress, or responsibility can overstimulate this region, impairing judgment. From this lens, divine delay is a neurobiological safeguard. It rewires the mind to perceive stability before granting capacity. Divine pacing is not withholding its refinement through sequence. According to Jilani, what we call stagnation is often hidden training. Life's apparent inactivity masks internal construction. He describes periods of silence and uncertainty as the divine classroom, moments when the soul is being shaped without external confirmation. What seems like inactivity is often the strengthening of invisible faculties, humility, surrender, discernment. Psychology supports this notion through implicit learning, the process by which the brain absorbs patterns without conscious effort. We often master complex behaviors beneath awareness before they appear in conscious form. The incubation effect in creativity research shows that breakthroughs frequently follow rest or delay. Cognitive silence breeds insight. Consider how great ideas often arise during inactivity while walking, showering, or meditating. The conscious mind pauses, allowing deeper integration to occur. Jilani interprets such pauses as divine pedagogy. The delay between intention and outcome is the time required for moral architecture to mature. When you see no movement, know that He is moving within you. Waiting is not void. It is the sacred incubation of readiness. For Jilani, divine timing is less about what we achieve and more about what we align with. The divine does not delay its. Modern humans equate achievement with accumulation. But Jilani redefines success as congruence between inner capacity and divine rhythm. Many seek outcomes their nervous systems are not yet capable of sustaining. When premature blessings arrive, they overwhelm rather than elevate. Psychologically, this can be explained through homeostasis, the body's drive to maintain equilibrium. When external demands exceed internal capacity, stress hormones destabilize the system. Research on allostatic load shows that chronic imbalance erodes resilience. Flow state theory reveals that peak performance occurs when challenge matches capacity. Too much demand causes anxiety. Too little causes boredom. Divine timing functions on the same logic. It aligns opportunity with maturity. What we interpret as divine delay is often synchronization. The system waits until we are coherent enough to integrate the very outcome we desire. The final pillar in Jilani's view is surrender. In his teaching, surrender is not passive resignation. It is stabilized patience. It means continuing effort while releasing anxiety about timing. This principle resonates with locus of control theory. Those who believe they influence effort but not outcome maintain greater mental health. They engage responsibly without collapsing under uncertainty. In mindfulness research, this balance is cultivated through attentional grounding, training the mind to remain present despite ambiguity. It reduces amygdala reactivity, improves regulation, and enhances adaptive resilience. For Jilani, such composure reflects trust in divine intelligence. The believer works consistently but refuses to demand immediacy. Surrender becomes a rational act cooperation with the inherent pacing of reality. Imagine a craftsman shaping glass. Too much heat too quickly will shatter the form. Divine timing operates with the same precision. It applies pressure in proportion to structure. Trusting that proportion is the essence of mature faith. At a deeper level, Jilani dissolves the concept of delay altogether. From the divine perspective, there is no late or early. Every event unfolds at its appointed hour. He describes time not as a series of moments, but as a single reality observed in sequence by human perception. Delay, therefore, exists only within limited consciousness. To grasp this rationally, consider a modern parallel from neuroscience. In predictive processing theory, the brain constantly anticipates future states and updates its models when predictions fail. Delay in perception reflects the brain's recalibration, not external stagnation. Similarly, divine delay signals spiritual recalibration, a gap between desire and readiness. Waiting refines perception. You become capable not only of receiving the outcome, but of understanding its meaning. The divine does not withhold to punish, but to ensure that reception transforms rather than destabilizes. Waiting functions as correction. It synchronizes expectation with truth. Jilani's wisdom can be translated into practical frameworks for psychological and emotional growth. Cognitive practice: reframe delay as data. When results lag, interpret delay as diagnostic, not punitive. Ask, what inner faculty is still stabilizing? This transforms frustration into insight. Behavioral practice: patience as regulation. Use physiological techniques such as controlled breathing or mindfulness-based stress reduction to manage impatience. Steady breathing increases resilience and reduces impulsivity. Emotional practice: faith as emotional intelligence. Jilani's concept of trust aligns with the emotional intelligence model, responding to uncertainty with curiosity, not fear. Replace the thought, "why not yet?" with "what is being built in me?" This fosters self-awareness and emotional balance. Social practice redefines success time. Share narratives of nonlinear growth stories of delayed outcomes that reveal deeper preparation. This counters the obsession with early achievement and normalizes developmental pacing. Through these practices, divine patience becomes measurable maturity. Emotional stability grounded in trust. You are never late in the timeline of the infinite. You are simply ripening at the pace of your capacity. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani reframes delay as divine precision. What arrives later arrives stronger, because the receiver has been prepared to hold it. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, is a period of invisible training designed to build inner symmetry with destiny. Modern science echoes the same conclusion. Neural learning, emotional regulation, and behavioral growth all require time and repetition. Progress without pacing leads to collapse. In both Sufi thought and cognitive science, time's true function is preparation, not punishment. The delay you resist today may be the exact calibration protecting you from premature collapse. So when nothing seems to move, remember, you are not waiting for destiny. Destiny is waiting for you to be ready.